Dan, you're a master of energy healing. What was the greatest healing you ever performed?
The greatest healing. Wow. To me, they're all great because they're all miracles actually that happen. My favorite type of healing is this when somebody 1 or 2 days after the sessions sends me an email or a message and says, Dan, oh my God, you transformed my life. Thank you so much. I can finally be happy again. Whatever I had is gone. And these are actually the type of healings I live for. I had so many people coming to me with totally different conditions, like from incontinence till allergies, or people who had like severe depression, anxiety disorders, like panic to the point where they cannot leave the house. And not only within a day, but just right after the session, they feel completely transformed. I had I had somebody with a infection in the urinal tract and in the abdomen who was on antibiotics, and it still didn't help, and even that disappeared like within a few days after the session. So it's a miracle to me every time, but I think it happens by divine grace, right? What I do is I'm actually the facilitator. The energy goes through me. I can affect it. I can manage it, but most part of the healing actually happens like inside the person. But I do have the ability to look inside and to see what's wrong, and then basically give a solution to the individual. And touch is not required. It all happens on a totally different plane. But I do see their inner child, right? I do see where the pain is, where the hurt is, what the needs are. And I can see the whole timeline. I can see into their past lives. It's a whole process, but it doesn't even take that long. A session a session goes for about like 20 minutes. But during these 20 minutes, there is so much going on. There's such a huge amount of energy flooding through me and through the client. And some are really sensitive. You know, they some of them, they start to shake, to tremble. Some like feel these huge waves of energy inside of them. Some feel like exactly where their pain is. If it's like an organ issue, they feel it exactly right there, and they feel it working, feeling energies in their head, in their chakras. So it's it's uh, it's quite remarkable.
In case I want to book a session with you, am I required to come to your house or can it work from the distance?
So you're more than welcome to visit me and have the session here. But with most of my clients, I work from the distance via video call because time and space for energy doesn't play any role, right? And I'm not touching you. So there's a big portion of imagination which doesn't have any borders, right? So the healing that happens, it happens in spirit, and then it transfers to the physical body. So touch is not required. Distance doesn't play a role. So a distant healing is absolutely possible, and from my experience, the results are non-different than if you would come to me in person.
You said that while you have a session with a client and working on them, you see something inside. Could you explain what actually you see? I mean, do you have any examples what it looks like inside of a person?
What's very obvious is that almost exceptionally, all of us, we have like thick walls built around us. And this is the reason why a lot of people that like actually do the work and do a lot of spiritual work, they cannot get through to their deep center because there are huge amounts of obstacles there. And it's different with everybody. But from what I see is that these walls that we built, they are self-inflicted. We built them. And what's funny is actually that people are really creative. Some, they build like concrete around them. Some, they use wood. Some use metal, right? And it's very strange to see that, because it's a surprise every time, and it's never the same. People are very creative, but what I can do is remove these walls and these obstacles, and then basically the being is blank, and I can really look inside. Well, what does it look inside? I mentioned the inner child. I can see that inner child. I can basically see you as you were as a child, and at the same time see why that child is suffering. Then, if there are organ issues and so on, I can look inside these organs and see what's wrong. And a lot of times, you know, what I get as information is more like images, because these informations, they come down to me, but they are transferred for me to be able to understand them as pictures or visions, and then I can work with them. For example, there was somebody coming to me who had a like pain in the wrist for a very long time. It doesn't go away, and there was this, I don't remember how it's called in English, this bubble that comes up here. Normally it has to be taken out with surgery. So when I looked inside there, I saw that he has a nail, like a big nail going through here. And one of the things that I did was remove that nail. By removing the nail, his wrist was healed. The pain was gone immediately, and the ball, the ganglia, or however you want to call it, it disappeared. So since then, he didn't have any issue with the wrist. So you see, it's these small things. People inflict on themselves stuff, or they get it from others.
And what was the craziest thing you ever saw in a person?
The craziest, okay. What was pretty crazy is there was an older gentleman, and I could see inside of himself, like, I don't know how many it were, 10 to 20 different personalities, like 10 to 20 different people living inside of him. They were like constantly changing. I still get goosebumps, because when you see things like that, oftentimes I ask myself, is that really true, what you're seeing there? But in the end, it turns out, you know, in the beginning of a session, I have a talk with the client, and they tell me about what's going on with them. But oftentimes they don't tell me everything. But then after the session, I tell them what I saw and what I did. And it's when I tell them after the session, they say, "Oh my God, it's true. How did you know that? I haven't told that to anybody. Only what I saw. For example, there was a woman. Her name was some Veronica or something like that. And during the session, I addressed the people by their name. It happens inside of me, you know. And every time I wanted to address her, the name Maria comes into my head. And I'm like, I have to correct myself. No, her name is not Maria, she's Veronica. Then her name is Veronica. But again and again, Maria came up. And after the session, I asked her, can you please tell me who is this Maria? Because she came up the whole time. And I wanted you to call you Maria the whole time. She said, oh my God, nobody knows about this. My name is Veronica, but I was baptized by the name Maria. But I never used that name. It was kind of an accident or whatever they did there, but they baptized her Maria, but she calls herself Veronica.
So where do you take the power of your energy healing from? What is actually the source of this energy?
Now, if I tell you this, you might think I'm totally nuts. And it was, in the beginning, it was, even for me, it was difficult to understand that and to accept it. But the energy that I have, it is basically my energy. It does not even come from this planet. It does not even come from this galaxy. It does come from 2 galaxies further away, where my true self is sitting in meditation, fulfilling his mission, projecting his soul to Earth to be of assistance, help, growth, and to be able to help people to self-realize, right? So I'm not really here. My soul is sitting somewhere else, consciously projecting itself to be able to do this work. So this energy goes, on the one side, you know, it travels, but I have this constant connection, so there's no traveling involved. So it's just there. Basically, the energy is who I am. It's my force, and that is quite unique to this planet, because we, as human beings, we can channel a lot of different energies. There are different energies in the universe. There are energies from Earth, from this galaxy, that we can make use of. But in this case, and I don't want to say that I'm super special in a way, I am. But I see it no different than other energies. The only difference is that right now, as far as I know, it's only me from this galaxy, from this planet, being here on Earth, using this type of energy, which is amazingly strong.
How did you actually discover this kind of energy, this form of energy which you describe being from another galaxy?
Yeah. Oh man, it's a long story. So I've been into spirituality all my life, basically. I've been practicing yoga for more than 20 years. So I'm familiar with energies. And at one point in my life, I decided to leave the corporate world, the jobs, and totally dedicate myself to God and to God's will and to God's work and to serve God. And so I went to different healers, energy healers, spiritual healers, and so on. And I learned from them. And I started practicing. People started coming to me, and I helped them. And then I went to visit a friend in Mexico. And he said to me, you know, there's somebody that I'm working with who's helping me with my third eye. And he is an incredible psychic. He can see and tell you basically everything. So, do you want to meet him? And I was like, yeah, sure. So, at the beginning, you know, I was a little, like, you know, afraid of what he might tell me. But then on the other hand, I said, well, how often am I going to travel to Mexico? And I think I should just see him and see what's going on. So we go to the guy and enter the room and sit down, and he immediately like gets like a shock wave of energy entering his leg, like going up, and he was like, whoa, what is this, who are you? He was like, and then he started getting downloads, and he was, oh my god, you're not even from here, what is this, where are you from? And then he started getting more information, more and more, and he started telling me what I told you before, that I'm not from this planet, that I came here to use this energy that I have to help people. And I said to him, well, you know, I already work in energy healing. I already help people. And he said, yes, but you're not using your energy. And he was right. And I was like, but how should I use it? I mean, I have no idea. And he said, well, you will have a constant connection to that energy, and you will get your downloads from there. You will get very clear instructions on how to use it. And I'm like, I mean, on the one side, I believe you, but how should this happen? And then he started telling me things that I would do in the future, the types of healings that I would do in the future, which sounds like completely out of this world. If I tell you, I better not, right? Let's keep it a surprise, but I didn't know what to say. He told me so many things, and he then asked me, well, do you want to know anything else about anybody else? And I said, yeah, please tell me about my grandfather. He had no idea. He could not have any idea about my grandfather. But I'm telling you, my grandfather, he was like a chiropractor. And he had a very special ability. He was not doing it like the chiropractics. There was something special, magical involved. He just had to touch the people, zack, and bones were in order. So I was very young when he died, and he was not able to teach me. But the guy told me, oh yeah, your grandfather, he used to adjust bones, and sometimes he had to break it to fix it. And I was like, how did you know that? Even I forgot that, you know, sometimes when you dislocate something, and it's dislocated for a very long time, it fixes itself in that way. So you have to actually break it open to be able to fix that in the original position. There was no chance of him knowing that. So, you know, I was doubtful the whole time and stuff, but then he told me, he said to me, boy, like, I'm not guessing here. I'm telling you, because that's what I do. I do since I'm a small child, like 14 years old, and everything I said has always come true. And it seems to be true. It definitely seems to be true. So when I came back from the trip from Mexico, slowly these downloads started to happen, and about how to use my energy. And I was doing things intuitively with my hands and stuff, and my third eye opened even more. So, like I mentioned, during the session, I get like clear visions and pictures about what's going on in that person, and so it's constantly evolving, even still. But the main thing is done. The connection is there. I realized it. I can use it. Time and space doesn't play a role, and it's for the most part pretty instant.
In case I would like to book a session with you, what should I do?
If you like to book a session, just go to my website, danlexow.com, and there you will see a calendar and a certain type of energy healing that you want to book. And then you just make an appointment online. At this point, I will call you, and we will have the session.
What forms of energy healing do you practice?
All right, so what we were talking about the whole time is called Maha Shakti, Maha Shakti Energy. And Maha means great and Shakti means power. This is how I called it because I perceive it that way. It really is a great power. So the other thing I do, which is very important as well, I think, is the spiritual spinal alignment, which is a technique where I'm able to, again, without touch, align the pelvis and the spine, because most of us, they have a misaligned pelvis that results in a leg length discrepancy that again has an effect on the whole spine. You know, the spine starts to curve. The nerves are not firing correctly, the energy is not distributed correctly, and during the years we will get different type of illnesses, organ, physical, knees, back, neck, all of that. So with this spiritual spinal alignment technique, I can in one moment align the pelvis and it is directly visible. Your legs like are maybe 1 or 2 centimeters difference, and after that they will be totally equal. Your pelvis, your spine, you can feel it totally straight after the alignment. You even walk differently because you got your original balance back.
Does the spiritual spinal alignment has only a physical effect, or is there also a mental effect?
It's not called spiritual spinal alignment for no reason, so the effect is actually spiritual. What happens is that the energy goes through you from top to bottom, and your outer energy bodies, the fine energy bodies, are cleared. Some call that aura, right? They are cleared and the baggage is taken off. So that results in also a physical straightening, uplifting. And it has effect on the mind, it has effect on the emotional body. These effects, they are then visible after sometimes weeks, sometimes months. The people would feel that their life is transformed in a way because they get on their soul path, because a big chunk of the baggage is removed. And I think that the spiritual spinal alignment, everybody should have it. Everybody should get it because you can really benefit a lot from it. With Maha Shakti, I can go deeper. But a big bulk, a general bulk of stagnant energies that you don't need in yourself, some issues in the emotional and mental body and in the physical body can be removed by the spiritual spinal alignment.
Does your energy work only fit for people who actually believe in spiritual things, or can like even non-believers have a session and they feel great about it?
Yeah, belief doesn't play a role. The only thing that's necessary, I would say, is to agree that you want to participate in that type of thing. I have had clients, a lot of them, who were skeptical, right, and say, well, Dan, I do not believe in this stuff, but let's try and let's see what will happen. And it works anyway. So belief, in a way, has nothing to do with it, and on the other hand, actually, it has all to do with it. But for me, it's not a belief anymore, it's a knowing. I just know it works. Because it wasn't just one person, 2 persons, or 3. I don't know how many hundreds, right? Mostly in Germany, but by now I have clients all over the world because you don't have to be here in person. So we do the distance healing thing, and that's how it works. You don't have to believe. You don't have to believe, you just have to agree. And then you will see for yourself.
Do you teach any of your energy healing practices?
Yes, I do. I do teach the spiritual spinal alignment, which everybody actually can learn. It's a very simple technique. There are actually many techniques to do that. And like I said, I went to a lot of healers, and I found two of them for the spinal alignment work really well. So I have given a lot of webinars teaching people how to do it, and it works for them immediately. I even wrote a book on the spinal alignment, the spiritual spinal alignment, which is easy to get for everybody, and everybody can learn it even only by reading the book and practicing what is inside the book. It's a small little book, but all the information to do the spinal alignment is in there. And I also teach quantum healing, so-called quantum healing, that I learned, or matrix healing, also very efficient. It would take longer to describe what's going on there. But in Maha Shakti, all of this kind of comes together and is even more advanced. I do want to teach Maha Shakti. I do want to teach, but I haven't found the right individuals yet who who want or can learn Maha Shakti, because I feel it's a great responsibility. You can basically do everything with that energy, right? So you have to actually, to be able to learn Maha Shakti, you gotta have a little bit of experience in energy healing. You have to be very clean as a person and as a soul. Your intentions must be very clean. So it works the best way when you realize that you are a servant of God, and the only thing you're doing there is facilitating and helping the other person as good as you can. You see, it's not about saying, ooh, I'm the greatest healer in the world, I can do this, I can do that. Like I say, for me, it's still every time a miracle. I'm still impressed by it and so thankful that it's working. And thanking God. Thank you, God, for helping, for assisting, for actually doing this healing. You see, so yes, but I do want to teach Maha Shakti because that is part of my mission, actually. I do have to teach it, and I will at some point.